Hey everyone, this is Rosie, and today I'd like to show you my method for making the card slots for the necessary clutch wallet. So let's get started. The first thing that you're going to do is draw some lines on the opposite side of your fabric, or the side that has the interfacing on it. So I have a paper template here just to show you where your markings need to be. So you're going to cut out your fabric to the size that's required in the pattern to make the card slots. For the necessary clutch wallet, it's 8 inches wide by 17 inches long. And you want to make sure that all of your corners are nice and square. Then you're going to start drawing some lines. So from the top, the very top of the piece, you're going to measure down 2.5 inches. You're going to draw a line straight across. You want to make sure that everything is nice and parallel to the top, and you want to make sure that this line is perpendicular to the sides. Then from the top again, you're going to measure down 6 inches and draw another line. Then from the top, measure down 6.5 inches and draw this line here. Then the next line that you're drawing from the top will be at 10 inches. And then the next line will be at 10.5 inches, and the last one will be at 14 inches. And every single line you're going to measure from the top. Then once you have everything measured, you're going to take your piece and you're going to fold back on that first line. Okay? So first you'll fold back on the 2.5 inch line. And you want to make sure that your edges are nice and even. Now this is paper, so I'm just folding and creasing, but if it's fabric, you'll iron it. Then once you have your 2.5 inch line folded, you're going to bring the 2.5 inch line up to the 6 inch line. You'll make sure that your edges are nice and even, and then you'll press. Then next, you're going to go to the 6.5 inch line, and you're going to fold that right on the line there. And you want to make sure that your edges are nice and even on both sides. Then you would press it. And once you're done, you'll take that 6.5 inch line and you're going to bring it up to the 10 inch line right there. And again, you make sure that your edges are nice and even. And it's helpful if you have all the folds that you've already done in place, and then you can check and make sure that all of your edges are even. Then once you've gotten that far, you're going to take the 10.5 inch line and you'll fold that back and press it. And again, make sure that everything's even. And once you have that fold in place, you're going to take the 10.5 inch line and you're going to bring it up to the 14 inch line and press. And again, you'll make sure before you press that everything is nice and even. Okay, so this would be the wrong side of the fabric, and then this would be the right side of the fabric where your card slots are. So let's try this with a real piece of fabric. Here's the fabric for my card slot. It's 17 inches long by 8 inches wide. You want to make sure that all of your edges are nice and square when you do this. We're going to flip it over to the side that has the interfacing. Now I've used the Pellon Shape Flex 101, but you can use whatever you prefer. So we'll take the ruler and we'll start out by drawing that first line, which is 2.5 inches down from the top. And I'm just going to use a pencil. You can use whatever you like here. And you want to make sure that your markings here are exactly in line with the edge of your fabric and also along the top. And once everything looks nice and straight and even and nothing's off, then you draw your line. Okay, so there's the first line. Then the next line that we draw is going to be 6 inches down from the top. So again, I'm going to place down my ruler. I'm going to line up all my markings. Make sure that everything is nice and square. And then I draw my line. Okay? Then the next line will be 6.5 inches down from the top. So same thing. Just place your ruler down on your fabric. Make sure it's all nice and square. and draw your line. Then the next line is 10 inches down from the top. So I'm going to move my ruler. Same thing, nice and square. Then our next line will be 10.5 inches down from the top. And then the last line is going to be 14 inches down from the top. Okay, now we're ready to press all of the lines in place. And I just want to say, if you have a Cricut Maker, you can actually program your Maker through Cricut Design Space to cut this out for you and draw all your lines, and then you save the work of having to do this yourself. Now we're ready to press on our folds, and I'm using the Cricut Easy Press ironing pad here that is really nice to use. So what we're going to do first is fold back on that first line. That's the one that's marked 2.5 inches from the top. And I'm just going to fold along the line. I want to make sure these edges are even. Fold it all the way across. Make sure that I'm on my line. And then I'm just going to take the iron and press it down. Okay, and my edges are even here and everything looks good, and it looks like I've folded right on that line. Then I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to take that 2.5 inch line and I'm going to bring it up to the 6 inch line. Okay, I'm going to make sure that it's nice and straight all along the length. And I want to make sure that my edges look even. And once I'm happy, then I'm going to press it down. And then I actually like to turn it to the other side and give it a little press from this side here. Okay. Now I'm going to move to this line, which is the 6.5 inch line. And I want to fold that back right on the line, making sure that all my edges are even. So this edge here is even. And I'm just folding, making sure that I'm right on that line. And then I press. Okay, and then once that one's pressed into place, I'm going to take that line right there and bring it up to the 10 inch line. Okay, and then I'm going to make sure it matches right up to the line there. And I want to make sure that my edges are even. I can take the previous folds and put those in place and look to see if it's all where it should be, and then I can press it. Okay, and then I'll turn it over again and I will press it on this side. Okay, and you can see here everything is evenly spaced and my edges are nice and even here. Okay. Then I take the next line, and that was the 10.5 inch line right here. And I'm going to fold that one back. Make sure everything is even. Okay. Make sure I'm right on that line there, and then I'll press it. Okay. And then after that one is done, I'm going to take that line and fold it up to the 14 inch line. Okay, I can fold everything back in place. Make sure everything's lined up and even. And then I go ahead and give it a press. And then I'll turn it over. And then I will press it from this side. So I have one that I've already completed, and here it is. So I went ahead and top stitched along all of the folds, and then I drew a chalk line right down the center, so that would be 4 inches in from each of these sides, and I sewed down the center, and then I basted my edges 1/8 of an inch away from the edge. Now the next thing that you would need to do is trim this piece to size, and it should be 4.5 inches this way. So it'll be 8 inches wide by 4.5 inches long once you've trimmed it. I've completed the 2 sides of the card slots. On each one I measured from the top down 4.5 inches and I cut across. Now what I'm going to do is clip them both together, and I'm going to sew them together with a 1/4 inch seam. So I'll just use some Wonder clips. Just put in as many as you feel comfortable with. And then I'm just going to sew across. And I'm using the edge of my presser foot as a guide because it's approximately 1/4 of an inch from the needle to the edge of the foot. When I get to the middle, I'm just going to back stitch over that stitching a little bit because I did not back stitch when I made that line down the center, when I sewed that line down the center of the card slots. And then back stitch at the end. And then all you will need to do is iron this seam open here, and then the front of your card slots are open. One thing to remember, and it's really easy to make this mistake, when you sew these together, make sure that the openings of your slots are towards the outside edges this way. Sometimes you make a mistake and you flip them, and then you have the card slots, the openings facing each other over here. So just make sure that you flip them so that the openings are going this way. Okay? So here are the card slots completed. If you're making this for the necessary clutch wallet, your next step would be to sew on the lining piece. And really, you can adopt this method for any wallet that you're making. Well, I hope that you've enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.